I'm Phaedra.
And I'm Sophie.
And this is My Best View.
Phaedra, what was your best view this week?
Okay, my best view this week was an easy one. My best view was watching all 4 episodes of the first half of the new Bridgerton series.
I have a weird thing. I can't wait for new seasons of shows to come out. If I can't binge the whole thing, I'm never going to watch it again in my life.
So you need all 8 out at once.
Yeah, so I was really into Bridgerton, but then I forgot it existed, and now I'm just like, that was the old me that watched Bridgerton. Like, I can't get back into it.
That's not true. If we're hanging out, you're going to get back into it. It's hard watching.
Okay. Do you know this thing that's like a part of a lot of different forms of neurodivergence? Pathological demand avoidance.
Oh, yeah.
I have that so bad. And I just feel like society telling me to watch something, I'm like, no, I'm not going to be watching that.
I'm not part of the sheeple.
So that's kind of how I am with this stuff. I know it's absolutely stupid, but like if I see too much promo, like let me tell you, Wicked lost me with the collabs. I was like, no, it's too much.
I can't have my detergent being Wicked themed and go watch the movie.
It's too much.
Well, for me, I've always liked the show. Specifically, season 2 is the best. Maybe I only liked season 2 because I didn't like season 1, I didn't like season 3. But that escapism of Bridgerton right now especially is so necessary for my personal mental health. It's like the world is so awful. I mean, God, there's a lot going on that sucks so bad.
I know.
In the US, the ICE shit going on, particularly in Minneapolis, is just completely degrading and heartbreaking and just horrible to see. I mean, it's going on around this entire country. I've heard of it happening even here in New York. It's just so unbelievably horrendous and horrible and a truly dark moment in our country's history. Add it to the list.
Seriously.
But that, and then the fucking Epstein files, and we could just name about 20 more awful things happening currently. And to be able to have my Bridgerton at the end of the day, where I guess race doesn't matter. A lot of the other isms do, which is kind of a funny picking and choosing, but whatever. I'm in the vibe. People are so beautiful. Everything works out pretty much in the end, and I know that's guaranteed. And I'm like, thank you, Shonda. I needed this.
I really respect that. And when I eventually do watch it in 5 years, I'll get back to you. Once the hype cools down.
I like that. And Sophie, what was your best view this week?
Okay, to be transparent with the listeners, I'm still not experiencing a lot of great views.
You need to watch Bridgerton.
I guess, because I'm still, don't tell me what to do.
You need to not watch Bridgerton.
Thank you. I think I'll watch it. Because I'm still in this, like, little village due to my apartment flooding, and sorry, but I find that everything sucks here, and like the trash is only taken out once a month and like that kind of stuff, where I'm just like not into it. But I always said when I eventually have like a huge kitchen, I will do so much meal prepping, not in a gym bro way, in like a fun DIY Trader Joe's frozen food kind of way. And I'm really happy to report I have made so much food over the last few days. And so honestly, my best view right now is this just like fully stocked freezer with like 3 different kinds of cookie dough labeled with instructions of how to bake them, and like, you know, all my various little breakfast foods ready to go, and my little salads and deli containers. So that's what's holding my life together right now.
What a great way to do it. Having a fridge or freezer full of food will make you feel like you have your shit together. That's very smart.
Yeah. So that's, you know, it's a small solace, but it's something.
Aw, that's great. I like that you have instructions on the cookie dough. Are you expecting someone to come into your kitchen and make them who's not you?
No, but I don't remember. Like, they have to bake at different temperatures.
Oh, got it.
And like for different lengths of time.
That's really smart.
Yeah. So that was just like on the package. You just know exactly what to do. It's easy.
I love that. So we start the episode with Stevi and Mahdi, and I have to say, for once they were kind of giving something, so I was pretty okay with this.
But can I also just say, as just like a warning to this whole episode had me stressing the fuck out.
Was it specifically because the weddings became more of a topic?
It was just, I felt like every single couple, I was like, break up.
Me too. But in a way where when I was watching the content of the episode, I had this sinking feeling that maybe not one of them is going to break up.
And I know you're right.
Well, starting with Stevi and Mahdi, a prime example. So Stevi and Mahdi are at home. Mahdi asks Stevi if she's going to start looking for a wedding dress. And Stevie says, I just got my ring. Took you long enough to do that. Maybe I should have just as much time to plan the wedding as you did to give me this ring.
The second ring, by the way.
Yeah, true. You already had one, first of all, we found out. It feels like there's this pattern where Mahdi will say something to Stevie. Genuinely could be the most benign comment, and her tone is always super defensive.
She has a lot of really also like disproportionate responses where you're like, unless we missed something, that doesn't feel like the appropriate response to what was just said.
Totally agree. It's very interesting. So this isn't even the worst example, but it's just like a little bit. There were just so many times in this episode and in previous episodes where this is the kind of dynamic. Maddie will ask this like innocuous question and Stevie is just like very defensive and weird about it. And then they like hype each other up of being weirdly passive aggressive.
I think she's picking up on the fact that the relationship is bad, that they don't know each other that well, that they're not compatible, etc. And I think it's coming out in this way, but it always makes her seem insane because he'll say something that's totally normal and she'll be like, okay, then I guess you hate me. And you're like, oh, okay.
So Stevie asks essentially if Mahdi thinks that they should move up the wedding date still. And Mahdi says yes to save money. Quote, unless you are worried about something still. Stevie says no, but she's stressed about having to move it up sooner. And Stevie asks Mahdi if Mahdi would be able to work sooner if they get married sooner. And Mahdi says yes. It was just kind of interesting how little Stevie seems to know about the green card process. Like, you didn't know that?
Agreed.
So Stevie also says that they need to ask Perry if he'll actually walk her down the aisle. Perry is her father. So this is essentially the plot of the episode, is seeing if Perry will agree to do this. And in a couple interviews, Stevie says that Perry is sick and getting worse, so it's important to her that he gives her away to someone that he knows will take care of her, being Mahdi. And Mahdi asks Stevie if she would call off the wedding if Perry won't walk her down the aisle, and Stevie says yes. So I don't believe her, because Stevie, if you actually felt that way, why would you lie to your dad? Like, lie in the sense of omitting the fact that you have been in a serious relationship for 2 years until the day before he arrived in the U.S. engaged.
Yes, I know.
What do you mean? Like, you can't just say it and make it true. I really don't think that's true. It's like, oh yeah, I would move to Iran for you, Mahdi. No, you wouldn't. Like, stop just saying stuff.
I know. No, I know. And I think she's like, on one hand, really like does really care about what her dad thinks, but on the other hand, also doesn't care because she's going to do what she wants either way. So it is kind of an odd situation.
It is. So later that day, Stevie and Mahdi drive together to Perry's like garage / plot of land that is just covered in broken down cars and trash.
Area.
The junkyard area. And, you know, they all say hello. Perry asks what they've been up to. And production starts playing this super tense, ominous music. Stevie tells her dad that Mahdi, quote, took her on a surprise and shows Perry the new engagement ring. Perry has like basically no facial expression or reaction. And he just says, I didn't know he was going to give it to you that quick. Just a nice, enthusiastic response when you get engaged. But they were already engaged, so I guess I don't blame him for being like, okay, cool. It's just a new ring.
Another ring, I know.
He doesn't give a shit. And Barry just kind of looks like uncomfortable and just like, okay. And he says, y'all don't think y'all know each other through and through by now? And Stevie says she thinks she knows what she wants. Mahdi tells Perry she wasn't sure a couple days ago, but he thinks he proved it to her, like by doing the reproposal. I'm like,
why'd you bring that up?
That's not going to make him feel better. And also that's so funny because I'm like, you were already engaged. What does this change? Like, I understand it's a sweet gesture, but it would not be the difference between knowing you're going to get married and not knowing that. Like, what?
I wonder if Stevie had convinced herself that the doubts she's having are because the proposal wasn't good.
Oh.
And now she's going to be like, oh, wait, shit.
And then Stevie says to Perry that she's generally skeptical of people. And I guess the implication is that she's not rushing into it because of that. And I'm like, that, again, actions versus words. I mean, okay, we don't have to say it again, but you barely know this guy. This is rushing into it. And look, if you want to do that, that's your right. But
don't act like Perry's crazy.
Exactly. And then Perry says, shouldn't I be too? Like, skeptical? And I just have to say, Perry is super calm this whole time. Like, the words he's saying are not directly reflective of how he's actually saying them. He's saying them in a very calm manner. And he says, you lied to me for 2 years. And he's about to continue talking, and Stevie just starts talking over him and says, I didn't lie to you. I didn't lie to you. And Perry says, well, shouldn't I be skeptical? Stevie says, she could have just run off to New Orleans and gotten married. So now she's like threatening that kind of retroactively. And I'm like, good conflict resolution. Good, good. And Perry says, yeah, you could have, quote, but I just don't understand if it's the best decision. And him saying, you lied to me for 2 years, really reminded me of the facts of the situation. She told him that Mahdi existed, what, a month ago now? Not even 2 weeks ago, actually.
Yeah.
I think. And he is so calm. Like, considering the situation, I would be freaking the fuck out if I were him. And he's just like, honestly, everything he's saying sounds like he's worried for the two of them.
This is the thing. All of the men who we hated were like, wait, you're making good points. Damn.
No, literally. The people who were kind of painted as the villains early on in this episode are coming across way better than the couple.
I know. This show keeps us on our toes.
Really does. I was like, yeah, Perry's completely right. And also articulating it in a really kind and loving way. And Stevie's just like, no, it's my decision. And he's like, yeah, I know. I'm just checking in. And she's like, it's fine.
Also, I do feel like we're skipping over the fact that his daughter was in a relationship for 2 years that she did not tell him about. Like, that's hurtful. I would be really hurt if a immediate family member was in a relationship for 2 years and didn't tell me about it.
Absolutely.
I would not be like, oh, you've been with them 2 years? They're coming tomorrow? Oh, great. He says, if that's what y'all decided to do, good luck. It's giving enthusiasm. It's giving support.
But, like, I get him.
I know.
Honestly, he's being way nicer than I would be. Like, yeah, good luck. And then Stevie asks him explicitly, will you walk me down the aisle? And he says, if you want me to, I would love to, which is very selfless of him.
Very selfless, but it's still not like over the top enthusiastic. It's like, yeah, okay, I will.
And everyone's just kind of standing awkwardly around. Like, everyone's so awkward all the time. And Stevie says to Mahdi, you better shake my dad's hand or something. She's like, and then they awkwardly shake hands, and Mahdi says thank you to Perry. And then a tag pops up on screen that says 50 days to wed. And then it changes to 14 days to wed. And I'm like, okay.
Stressful.
It's really stressing me out. So in the next part, we cut to Mahdi and Stevie in the car. And what they're really doing in this section is touring a wedding venue. And Stevie says it's hard to find one so last minute, which does make sense to me.
You can famously book a wedding venue 14 days out.
Well, you can. Finding a good one is another story. We cut to an interview of the couple, and I was wondering if this is going to be a bitch eating crackers moment for you.
And it was. Okay, so basically Stevie says that Mahdi can't help with the wedding because he doesn't know about American weddings. Which again is funny to me because I'm like, I feel like he could be told what to do, but okay. And then he says he only knows about American weddings from movies. And I'm thinking, so you already know a lot about American weddings?
Yeah, there's a lot of contradictions. I was very confused by that.
And then she's like, yeah, he can't help because the weddings in movies are too traditional. I'm like, sorry, I'm not following the logic at all. So he does know about it, but his brain can't wrap around the specific wedding you want to have.
So Stevie, it's almost like he knows too much about American weddings. Yeah. Because if he only knows all of the traditions, it's not going to apply. But then couldn't you just be like, oh, okay, you know about this, this, and this. We're only going to do 2 of those things.
Right.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense. And I'm thinking about it because, okay, so if you're not having a traditional American wedding, then why can't you just tell him what you want to do? You're both starting at square one then.
I'm just thinking as well, like with planning a wedding, I mean, a lot of it is just subtasks. Can't you be like, call the bartender and tell him we need this? Like,
yeah.
Or make a list of this, or like, I don't know, I feel like there are tasks that you can do even if you don't have the full vision in mind.
Absolutely. So they're welcomed into the venue by the owner, and they meet up with Stevie's friend Claire, her husband Whit, and then baby Evie, who are waiting there. And in an interview with the friend Claire, she says that she's worried Stevie is rushing into things and wants to make sure that Mahdi is in it for the long haul. Everyone around Stevie seems to have the right mindset except for her. It's very interesting. And in the moment, Claire asks if Mahdi's family will video call into the wedding. And Mahdi says no, because if they see any signs of alcohol or it being co-ed, they wouldn't be happy. So I'm like, ooh, his parents are like conservative.
Yeah, and he says they're super religious, which is interesting, and I will say made me a tiny bit more sympathetic to, like, I can see why he wants to get away from that.
Absolutely. I mean, Mahdi, of course, later he definitely says something quite conservative. But overall, I just don't really get that vibe from Mahdi. I think he's quite different from his parents. I think he's dressing like an absolute slut at the gym, for example. He's not really giving like traditional. So it's just interesting that he's coming from that kind of family. My next note says clear AI. Probably not. Speech to text? Okay.
Claire is AI.
Claire is replaced by a Claire AI bot. God. Okay. So then Claire asks if they're going to incorporate any of Stevie's paintings into the decor. And it's just felt like such a producer planted question. I'm like, what?
Such producer shit. Because what do you mean? They already have a wedding bowl. They don't also need wedding paintings.
I was going to say, what is the decor of this wedding? We have a bunch of wedding bowls. We have nude paintings of women who are in attendance. Amazing. And so as a joke, Claire is like, oh, what about we do the painting of me? Oh, but it wouldn't be appropriate. And Mahdi's like to Stevie, you painted her? And Stevie says that she painted Claire nude. And Mahdi's like, are you serious? Why didn't you tell me that?
Insane vibe shift.
And Stevie's like, I didn't think it was a big deal. And like basically Mahdi says that like a lot of the other paintings that Stevie has done, she's said were from photos. But then this being an in-person painting is like really different to him. So first of all, I will say I personally also think it's weird as fuck to paint your friend nude. Is that me being conservative?
I will say my views on nudity have shifted since moving to Germany. Mm-hmm. But for the American context, I do think it's weird.
Right. Okay. I would not be comfortable with it. Clearly these two women are, so I'm not going to have moral judgment on it, but I don't blame Mahdi for feeling like that's a little weird. I think a lot of people would feel that way.
I guess I also don't super understand the distinction between pictures and I guess it's like a little more intimate to be nude in person, but I don't think it's like a night and day difference. I would understand if, for example, the issue was that she said she was painting women and she was also painting men more so.
Okay.
Like if she had naked men over, I feel like we would be more understanding of like him freaking out. I think it's only because he thinks she's bi that he's weird about it.
So it's the same. Yeah. Which, okay, inclusive, I guess, you know.
I think the fact that her house is full of paintings of boobs is weird. Like I think there are a lot of things about it that are weird. I was surprised by this being the line.
Something specifically about it that I find weird is that so far, all of the paintings we have seen, which has been many, are quite sexual. So I am curious what type of painting she painted of her friend Claire. Was it one of that style of like kind of sexualized painting? Or was it, let's say, like just an artistic nude, or even it could be like a maternity thing because she recently had a baby. Like I'm curious. I think it's not inherently weird, but I think that's why I had my initial like ooh reaction is I'm like, are you painting like a sexy painting of your friend? Because I do think that's, again, it's not that you are not allowed to do it, but I wouldn't blame Mahdi for finding it a little strange.
It's just, I have to say it's so funny to me as a side note, like how cultural nudity is.
Yeah.
And I used to be so much more of a prude before I moved to Germany, but I've become so desensitized that I'm just like, yeah, whatever, paint your friends naked. I don't care. Like, just like that. In Germany, they really separate nudity from sexuality. And so I would think it was weird if the vibe was sexual. I agree.
Yeah. So it really depends on the painting, I think.
It really depends on the vibe and like the context. I'm just saying it was a reminder for me of how German I've become because I was like, I can tell it's a big deal in the show, but like, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Totally. But then Mahdi says some fuck shit because we go to an interview and he says that Stevie never mentioned that she painted girls naked in person, and knowing she was with her friend naked blows his mind. First of all, I'm like, well, okay, I don't think necessarily Stevie was also naked.
I don't think she was naked.
I think only Claire was naked. I think Stevie was painting, but whatever. It's not like they were rolling around together in the paint on the canvas. I mean, as far as we know. Mahdi fucking says, to be honest, this quote cracked me up. It's not funny, but it's so funny. I don't know why. He goes, to be honest, she's giving me bisexual vibes again. Women being together is totally wrong in my culture, and I'm not okay with it. I'm not laughing at the content and what he said. What he said pissed me off and is so fucking gross, and like, we can get into it. But something about saying bisexual vibes was so funny to me. It was wasn't like, oh, it's making me worried that she's bisexual. She's giving me bisexual vibes. I don't know.
It's also funny because I feel like I'm on the side of TikTok where people do say like stuff has bisexual vibes, but it'll be like a hat.
Exactly. That's what it's making me think. And it's like bisexual or gay people posting stuff like that. But Mahdi's like, I hate bisexuals. And he's like, it's giving bisexual vibes. I find it disgusting and unacceptable to have this worldview. You know, it's fucking stupid as hell. I mean, That said, I mean, I was raised to be, maybe I'm just being sensitive, but I almost feel like saying like, oh, I was raised to be accepting of gay people. I almost feel like that's like, I don't like that phrasing because I'm like, well, what's there to accept? It's like just neutral. Like, why would I care? Anyway, but I was raised so far over on that side of the spectrum.
I feel like we had to learn about the existence of homophobia.
Yeah.
Like, what? There are people who have a problem with gay people? Like,
very weird.
Yeah.
Very strange to me. Okay. I was the last kid, so for some reason, I don't know, they just missed like cueing me in explicitly. But I found out about gay people from The Sims.
Whatever works.
All my siblings knew about gay people. I don't know why, like, just for some reason, this topic didn't come up.
They forgot to include you in the meeting.
Yeah. They forgot to tell me about it. I remember because I accidentally, with two of my Sims, clicked the option to, like, flirt. Like, my game did it, and they flirted with each other. And I was like, what? And then I called my sister over. I was like, Zoe, what? And I told her, I was like, but they're two girls. And my sister went, yeah, they're gay then. Gay people exist. And I was like, what's that? And she's like, that's when two girls like kiss and get married, just like a boy and a girl. And I was like, they can do that? And she's like,
Mind
yeah.
blown.
And I was like, huh. She's like, why wouldn't they be allowed to? And I was like, that's so tea. Mind you, gay marriage wasn't legal at the time, but you know, I was like, okay. So anyway, that's kind of how I found out about gay people. When I told my mom that later, she's like, what? What do you mean? She was so shocked.
I will just really quickly tell you that when my little sister learned about gay people because one of her friend's moms was marrying another woman, she said, I mean, she was super little. She said, so you're telling me two women can get married, but I can't marry my dad? Keep in mind, she's lesbian now. It's like some conservative ass backwards talking point. Like,
yes, that is what we were telling you, Eloise. I love the equivalency there. Little kids are so funny. Anyway, but yeah, as soon as I found out about gay people from The Sims, I was like, yeah, why would that even be like I felt like an idiot. I was like, oh my God, why didn't I put the pieces together? Really went on a tangent there. Everyone's just like uncomfortable. And then the venue owner comes back and she's like, oh, I checked in the day that you want to have the wedding on is free. And they both just like kind of don't react. They're like, oh. And she has to go like, yay, like the venue owner. So that was it for them, right?
There was another segment I think you're missing. I have extensive notes about it, so I can also talk about it if you don't have notes.
Didn't get them, or they disappeared somewhere else in my notes. Would you mind covering it?
Okay,
Sorry.
Sure. So at this point, Claire tells the camera that she feels really awkward about the whole thing, and it makes her wonder if Mahdi would be controlling about other things in the future, which I think is a fair concern.
Yeah.
And like, I cannot tell you how long this goes on of Mahdi just being like, I can't believe you don't think painting your friends naked is a big thing. And Stevie being like, that's my work. I don't know why. It's like, that conflict just goes on and on. And then Stevie basically is like, it's my normal work. You know, that's what I do. I didn't realize I had to tell you about like every single variation of the work that I do. And Mahdi says, then you don't know me enough. You should have told me. And then like Mahdi escalates this to be this whole thing of like that Stevie is keeping secrets. And now that he knows she's capable of keeping secrets, he doesn't trust her. And then also like reiterates that being bi is bad in his culture.
Dude.
And again brings up this point of like this classic biphobic bullshit of like, what if we get married and after we get married, it's not enough and she wants to be with a woman. And then they have this whole thing of like Stevie is like, you need to tell me if you're bisexual or not. And she keeps dodging it. And then he says, my problem is you always give me a fake answer. And the thing is, I will say,
oh my God,
obviously Mahdi's being super biphobic and insane here, but I will say Stevie is consistently reacting in a way that perpetuates confusion and doubt. Like, yeah, it's a kind of a weird thing that they keep doing, but she'll just go, I'm not answering that. I don't want to talk about it. I'm not answering that. And like, assuming his biphobia isn't a deal breaker for her, she should just like answer it and move on. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of confused why because for me, I would be like, if you're going to talk like that about bisexual people, I'm done with the relationship.
Yeah, like regardless of if I'm bisexual too.
She doesn't seem to have that concern. So I don't know why she just doesn't answer it and move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
And so then he goes like, you always give me a fake answer. And she's like, what do you mean? And he's like, you won't give me a yes or no. And she's like, yes or no what? And it's like, okay, why are you being weird like that? And he says, yes or no, are you attracted to women? And she's like, fine, no.
Wait, how did I miss this?
I don't know.
I don't remember this at all.
It was really weird because she goes, fine, no. Like in this way that's like not convincing at all. She's like not making eye contact with him, like looking away. And I'm like, okay, Stevie, again, I don't want you to be in the situation because I think it's horrible. But like, since you're wanting to be in the situation, like you're not helping yourself.
Yeah.
And then Mahdi, again, in an interview with the camera, says he like just cannot get over the painting. And he says he can't marry her if he doesn't know who she is.
I mean, okay, we can agree on that.
Yeah, well, that's true. And then he says maybe he wants to postpone the wedding after he was the one who tried to pull up the wedding.
What? Wait, how did I miss this? Where did I go?
I don't know.
Watched it.
This was towards the end of the episode.
That's not making me feel good. How are my other notes? Anyway, I'll move on from that. I'm just like,
you're like, so Robert, wait, inventing new characters?
Literally, I'm like, did I black out? Like, where did I go? And I wish I watched this because what the fuck? That's insane.
I know, it was kind of tea.
That is tea. I'm so mad at myself. Well, thank you for taking detailed notes. That's crazy. So he said, did he say they have to postpone it or they might have to postpone it?
They might have to. He said he maybe will want to postpone the wedding if he doesn't know because he doesn't know who she is.
This is so cementing in my mind that my theory that he is really just with her to get this green card. Because I feel like he has these moments where he realizes he just really isn't that into Stevie. Like, they're not compatible. But then it's almost like the next episode, he's resolved to be like, well, I really want to be in America.
I know. Yeah. I know.
So I'm like, well, yeah. I think we have these moments where, like, the mask is almost lifted and we see how he actually feels. And then he slips it back on. He's like, well, we have our issues, but we're going to get married anyway. And I'm like, okay.
I know, it's so odd.
Very odd. They are odd people. So it makes sense that the relationship would be odd as well.
It just cracked me up. The fact that they like went out of their way to find the one venue. By the way, it was like a tiny little room with like a kind of sad looking outdoor space. And now they're going to have to cancel on that venue maybe to postpone the wedding.
Girl, I can't. You can't be having a wedding in 2 weeks if you're not really sure about it. I can't. Oh my God. I know they're going to get married and it's stressing me out.
I know.
Oh my God. So stressful. Now we have Shawn and Alliya.
I hate this man.
Shawn is like so funny to me because I can tell he loves the attention. He loves being on the show. He loves being in his little interviews. He thinks he's so charming too. And he is the worst. He is not interesting. He's not funny. And we'll get into that later. And he's such a bitch. But in a way where he's not funny either. And he doesn't seem particularly smart. I have a theory that in order to be mean, you have to be really good at one of these things. You have to be very funny or very smart or very beautiful. And you cannot be very mean if you don't have one of those other things as well.
What I'm always saying is pick a struggle.
At the end of the day.
You can't be all of those. You know what I mean? Like all the negative things. You have to know where you're at and act appropriately.
You can't be like Shawn. You can't be an unfunny, ugly, stupid bitch.
You can't. And if you are, we will find you and we will criticize you.
And if you are and you come on this show, we'll treat you how we treat Shawn. Like with Greg, at least, he's not ever mean, but he's kind of like a loser. But you know what? He's
not
so
cocky,
like,
at least.
He's not cocky and he is funny and he is a nice person. Like we have our criticisms of him, but like Shawn is not either of those things. So
it would be like if Greg started being like, Joan, you're too ugly, go on a diet. Then we'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what the hell? Yeah. Anyway, now that we've started out lighthearted, let's get into it. We start the episode with Shawn and Alliya playing with their dog. Do you remember this dog's name? Toto?
Maxwell?
Of course. Okay. I'm surprised it's not Barbara Streisand. So they're playing with the dog Maxwell. And it's just like, Shawn is such a little bitch because Shawn is petting the dog and finds like, what do you call it? Not a doula, but like an eyelash dually. Is that what it's called?
A spoolie. There's an entire doula in there.
It was Okay, he finds, God damn it. He finds an eyelash spoolie in the dog's fur, and Loki gets mad at Alliya and is like, I'm sure it's very clean and ready to go. Like, mocking her germophobia. And I'm like, Shawn, you need to exit this relationship. You
He is
hate
also just
her.
the king of, like, starting shit for no reason.
Yeah, it's like, what? It would have been like a cute moment, like, if he found it and was like, oh my God, Maxwell loves your makeup. He grabbed it into his fur. I don't know. You could have made it like, oh my God, how'd this get here? That's so funny. Hee hee. But because he resents her so much, he's like, I can't believe this. It's disgusting now.
It's woman shit.
No, literally, anything that reminds him of her femininity is like a personal attack to him. It's crazy. And Alliya just says like, oh, I'm sure he tried to steal my makeup. Like, she's just always trying to put a lighthearted spin on Shawn being straight up like mean to her. I feel so bad for her. Anyway, so that sets the tone for this episode. So Shawn in an interview says that they're going north for their engagement party. And he says, quote, maybe to other people it's a meet and greet, but regardless, it's going to be a lovely venue, a lovely day, very opulent, very fancy. And it's going to be Alliya, and we'll see how everyone rolls with it. Hey, so who's putting a gun to your head and forcing you to do this?
I will say I took the note. I thought no one knows he's engaged. And then not a minute later, he goes, quote, people are coming with various amounts of knowledge.
I thought no one knew. Get your story straight.
But also what? It's like a trick party. It's like, haha, I'm engaged and this is the person I'm with. I don't get it.
From various things he then said, he says that obviously his mom knows everything. Jean, our queen.
Yes.
I don't know how she raised such a little bitch, but she is a lovely woman. And he says basically that he's not sure if like the rumor mill has spread the information about Alliya so people know who she is. So it sounds like maybe he's expecting or kind of hoping that his mom has like keyed people in.
Yeah, but I mean, what the fuck? You're inviting people to a party and you're like, I hope they know the key information.
Doesn't make any sense. Thank God clearly someone did disseminate information to various degrees because people did not look that shocked later. Just spoiler. I feel like this is a form of self-sabotage because I feel like he wants to introduce Alliya into these people and surprise them and then have them like react really negatively so that he can have an excuse to break it off.
I feel like he wants the shock factor, weirdly enough. Yeah, I know what you mean.
And he loves attention, so I think any chance to get it, he's gonna pursue. So back in the moment, they're packing their luggage together, and Shawn says, quote, so, and he says it like in this tone, so in there you have more cosmetics than you have luggage. And Alliya says it's because she's finally, like, you're finally taking me to meet your family. But she doesn't even say it in that tone. She's like, well, it's because you're finally taking me to meet your family. Like, yeah, I want to look nice. God forbid. He is just, again, so resentful of her femininity. Anything that reminds him that she is a woman, she does makeup and whatever, it pisses him off. And I just think that's so funny for a guy that did hair professionally.
I know. It's a well-documented phenomenon that there's a lot of misogyny in the gay community. And now I'm just wondering how much of this is like him being steeped culturally in a misogynistic community versus how much is specifically transphobia towards Alliya. I think it's a mix. But I feel like him being like, oh my God, women wear so much makeup. It's like this weird, like super basic misogyny. You know what I mean? That I'm like,
it's almost affirming.
It is, in the worst way possible.
Great, so he can just be regular sexist to her. Fantastic. But no, he is also transphobic. It's a fun little intersectionality of the two.
Fun combo.
And it's like this great thing where if you're a misogynistic man but you happen to be gay, it's like you can really live in an all-man world and then just shit on women with you feel like no negative side effect because it's like, well, it's not like I'm married to one, so why should I care?
I know, and also get away with it because you can be like, just teasing. Like,
and it's like you're being misogynistic.
Yeah.
So Alliya says that she hopes everything will work out well and, quote, that they love me because I'm lovely, yeah? And in the most resentful voice, Shawn says, you're so lovely. Like through gritted teeth. And I'm like, so actually who's forcing you to stay in this relationship? You're such a piece of shit. Just this daily low level of negging and like bullying. It's so destructive to poor Alliya's mental health. I mean, she seems to be doing okay, but
we've seen this so many times where she'll be like, tell me I'm pretty. And he's like, yeah.
Prettiest thing I've ever seen.
like just not meeting her where like she's expressing like a need for some affirmation. He just like won't do it, or like does it in the most reluctant way ever.
Absolutely. Also, every time that Shawn has these little snide comments, both in the moment with Alliya and when he's directly talking to the camera in interviews, I just get this feeling that I almost feel him metaphorically looking at the camera and saying, see what I have to put up with. Is it just me? Like, I just get that vibe from him. It's like, no, everyone's going to be on my side. And it's like, Shawn, I got bad news for you. We see right through you.
I know. He just pisses me off.
So they're in the car driving north to Sonoma County, which is far as fuck from LA. I was like, what is this, an 8-hour car ride? They didn't acknowledge how long that car ride was. I was like, whoa, okay, that's intense. But Alliya asked him in the car, because I think he makes another stupid joke she doesn't get. Like, it was so unfunny, I didn't even bother to write it down. And Alliya says that Shawn can make, like, to Shawn, you can make jokes, but, like, please don't do it in front of other people when, like, you know I'm not going to understand it. Like, it just makes me feel stupid. And please, like, you can make jokes, but please just don't make them about me. Which, yeah, like, why would you even be doing that, Shawn? Because it's her first time meeting his family, and she has no idea who they are yet, like, wants to make a good impression, everything that makes sense. And Shawn says, you can just go all Brazilian on them, and, like, imitates, like, a sassy lady, like, wagging her finger.
He's always coming up with new ways to be offensive.
Yeah, he's, like, out of control offensive dude.
By the way, it is a 7.5-hour drive to Sonoma. I just looked it up, so we can cut me saying it's 10 hours.
But 7.5 hours is crazy. That's so long. And to be in the car with Shawn?
Oh, I know. It feels like 10 hours.
At one point, they are driving across the Golden Gate Bridge, and I was like, wow, because me and Sophie are from not far away from San Francisco. So for me, I was very excited to see my baby on screen. They're like driving through redwood trees. It's gorgeous. Makes me want to go on a road trip in Northern California. And they arrive, and Alliya says she's so excited to meet Shawn's mom. She's been so supportive from the beginning, and she feels like Jean is her mom too. And they text all the time, which is very cute and sweet. And they meet and hug. Alliya cries, and it's just a really touching moment. It's nice to have Alliya have something nice for once.
I know.
And Jean welcomes Alliya to her home, introduces her to Wookie, her little dog, which is really cute. And Alliya's very excited to see this little dog, a lot more than the big dog Maxwell, I must say, because she wanted a little dog, not a big one. And just a little note, Alliya says in an interview that Shawn's mom's house is also covered in stuff, like collectibles, and it reminds her of Shawn. She sees where he gets it. And I like the whimsical nature of both of their homes. It's cute to me. Jean living in Northern California made a lot of sense to me.
I was so surprised. I just assumed she lived in LA too, since she was just there in that one episode. But
I did in that episode, but then the more we've kind of gotten to know her, I was like, oh, her living up in like the Bay Area, I think it makes sense. Like she's kind of like artsy and whatever. And Alliya asked Jean if she thinks that the rest of the family who Alliya is meeting tomorrow will like her. Again, she's just looking for some affirmation. And for once, someone gives it to her because Jean says, what's there not to like?
I will also add that right before this, Jean asks how living together is going. And Shawn says it's not a honeymoon. It's a honeymood period because they're both so moody.
I missed that.
Shawn, say one nice thing challenge.
Level impossible. Anyway, Alliya remembers that she has a gift for Jean, so she goes back out to the car to get it. And during that time, Jean asks Shawn if he's nervous. Shawn says he's not nervous, but the reason he hasn't told people about Alliya is he doesn't want to hear their concerns because he already knows everything. Like he doesn't want to hear stuff that he has already thought 10 times over. And he says that when he told some friends in LA, so what? Previously he said that he told no one.
He's so inconsistent.
It's so weird. Whatever. And at the time he got some weird comments, quote, about the whole transgender thing, which made Shawn shift his feeling about what kind of people those friends were. So he'd rather keep it inside and not deal with it. I'm like, okay, it's good to like side eye and stop being friends with people who are transphobic, but it's like his solution is then to just not tell anyone. So I'm like, so you don't care that they're transphobic?
I feel like he cared about the transphobia because he felt judged for it, not because he was like, wait, shit, these people are bad people.
Totally. I don't even get the vibe that he stopped being friends with them either. It's just like, oh, I'm not going to talk to them about it.
So weird.
Have morals once.
Jean asks Shawn if he's 100% happy because she's like, I'll support you if you're happy. Are you 100% happy? He says, no one's 100% happy. Also, it's like such a stupid response. Like, she's trying to say, are you 100% happy in this relationship? Which I feel like you should just say, like, some people are 100% happy in their relationships. Whatever. He says, no one is, but he just doesn't want to be at 60. So it's like, okay, you're only 60% happy right now. That's also not that good. And then he basically says that he's not fully happy, but it's because he has unanswered questions and he doesn't know if he can get the answers he needs in 30 days. Whatever the hell that means.
I'm like, yeah, what answer are you looking for? Is the answer that Alliya is going to suddenly be like, just kidding,
I'm detransitioning? No, seriously.
I don't understand what that could possibly mean other than that.
Me either.
In the next part, Shawn is waiting for Alliya to finish getting ready. It's the day of the engagement party / meet and greet, whatever you want to call it. And Shawn says to her, again, this fucking passive-aggressive, like sarcastic, negging comment. He says, hypothetically, if I was a fiancé who was waiting for a fiancé to finish getting ready for an engagement party that already started, how long would that person take to finish their makeup? And Alliya says she's almost done but doesn't want to rush. And I said, okay, Mina.
And I was like, Mina vibes. Getting glammed.
I will say, though, I'm far from being an expert on Brazilian culture, but I did go to Brazil and visit a dear friend and had a fantastic time. But I think that Brazilians have a different relationship with time than Americans do, for example.
A lot of cultures do, yeah.
Yes. And I think, from our perspective, things start, like people show up to events later than we would. Again, for them, it's not late. It's just a different culture.
But then it's also like, instead of being passive aggressive, just be like, hey, just so you know, the party starts at noon and we have to be there at noon.
Right. I think that Alliya understands that she's not in Brazil. She seems like a very respectful person. I think that if she were given appropriate preparation by Shawn, that like, hey, just so you know, especially like this is a bunch of like older white people, white Americans, they're going to be timely, So I think it would have been totally fair for him to say, hey, just so you know, like, they're not going to like it if we show up even like half an hour late. So we really have to be on time. I do believe that Alliya would have put in effort to make that happen. So it's just, and he's just blaming her. And I understand in the moment, yeah, like it comes across as rude, but Shawn, you're in a relationship with someone from a different culture. How are you so culturally illiterate to not have prepped her appropriately, not have known this, So it's just frustrating to me to see. And it's also setting her up to make like a bad impression with the friends, So I think it's disrespectful of him to have done.
And then also he says that her getting ready and taking so much time is reminding him of a time in the past when he had a wife and was annoyed with her all the time, basically. And he says he's been, quote, free of it for a lot of years, and now I'm back to square one. Big oof.
So revealing. So revealing. I'm like, yeah. So you feel like being in a relationship with a woman, being in a relationship with Alliya, is bringing you back to square one. You feel that it's reverting to a time in your life when you were unhappy, when you weren't living as your authentic self. Break up.
And I will give him credit. It is, at least it is affirming gender-wise.
Sure. He's like, oh, women are fucking annoying.
Yeah. So don't marry a woman. Shawn also says in an interview that this party is, in addition to being an engagement party and a meet and greet, it's also a gender reveal and coming out party, because he hasn't told a bunch of people his partner's gender. He's trying to set it up as like a prank. It's so weird.
I know. Or like he likes the drama of it or something. But I mean, he seemed so resentful and like brittle the whole day. So I'm like, well, clearly you weren't really enjoying it. I really do think what I said it up top, feeling like this was self-sabotage or like self-help. He doesn't want to be in this relationship, but he's too passive to end it. And he wants other people to have such a bad reaction that he can be like, well, we had to break up. That's why. What a loser. So we now cut to the guests mingling at the party, and it looks absolutely lovely. It's gorgeous. Outdoors in the California sun at a vineyard in Sonoma.
The catering looks really good too.
Oh, yeah. It really did look like a fancy event. It looked gorgeous. I would love to go to this engagement party if it weren't for this couple specifically. So we see Jean, Shawn's mom, talking to a friend named Alfred. And she says that she has, quote, cranberry in her water bottle. And Alfred says, cranberry in what? And Jean says, well, you can't taste the vodka. And they both laugh. Like, she's just so good. I love her. And she seems authentically fascinating and fun. Like, she doesn't feel like she's hamming it up for the camera. She's
a character.
I love her. So Shawn and Alliya walk up to the group. They arrive, and some people cheer. Like, people seem very enthusiastic overall. It seems like a nice group of people. And Alfred goes and hugs Alliya, which is very sweet. And Alliya meets Kayla, Shawn's daughter, and they hug. And Kayla asks what pronouns Alliya prefers. And Alliya says she and her. And Kayla says, okay, as it should be done. It's a simple thing. It seems like only Shawn was the one being like, oh, everyone's going to freak out.
His kids seemed extremely like either maybe themselves members of the LGBT community or like adjacent to the community. Like I was really surprised he was acting like his kids would not get it. And I'm like, they definitely get it more than you do.
Like, if they are not themselves members, they are clearly allies and, like, know stuff. They are not ignorant people who would be like, what? What do you mean transgender? Like, it was super simple, very normal. And I'll get into it later, but it really affirmed my theory, or both of our theory, at the beginning of this whole situation being like, well, maybe they're not weirded out about the fact that she's transgender and a woman, but they're weirded out about the fact that she's our age or younger.
I think so.
They go and meet Austin, Shawn's son, and it's pretty awkward and tense.
Austin is low-key avoiding them.
Hikey, yeah. And Shawn says, you can't avoid me, you can try, as they go up to him. And I'm like, whoa, what is going on with this family? Something interesting. And Alliya, in an interview, says she knows Shawn is distant from some of his family and friends, even his kids. She says that her own mom is on her side, but there's a part of her family that doesn't accept her. So Shawn's friends and family receiving her so well means a lot. And I'm really glad that she had this affirming kind of experience with his family and friends, truly in spite of any of Shawn's actions. I mean, just these people seem to be good, affirming people, and that is not thanks to Shawn.
I agree. Something that's coming up for me now is the concept of being distant from your friends and family. I understand being distant from your family. It's like you can say, this is the family I was born into. I'm not close to them. Distant from your friends is just not being friends.
Yeah. So you have no one?
So you don't have friends.
Like a loner. Yeah. That's not a thing. Those are acquaintances then.
Or like acquaintances or like former friends. Like
very interesting. And again, affirming what we suspected earlier too. We were like, it sounds like he isn't opening up to anyone. Does he not have anyone that he's close to? And bingo, I guess. That's sad. And Shawn tells his son Austin that they have 90 days to, quote, either get hitched or send her back to Brazil. And Austin says, beautiful way to put it. So poetic. Like, he does not fuck with his dad. And Austin, we agree.
Yeah. We're Team Austin.
Also, when he says get hitched, Austin, he looks surprised.
It's also interesting to me that they had this party 2 months into her 3-month visa.
Right.
It's like these people, you're asking these people to all see you again in like 3 weeks. Like, that's a lot of parties.
Did they not get the invite also? Are you sure they're going to be able to make it?
Confusing.
So everyone sits at the table to eat and drink and chat. And Alfred from before says to the whole table that it's beautiful here, quote, we're all friends and we all love you. But how come we haven't heard about this beautiful creature before? Pointing to Alliya. And asking the question that clearly everyone at the table has on their mind because they're all kind of looking expectantly.
Shawn's response was so weird.
Do it.
I don't have the exact quote, but basically he says something that like his real friends know, that he only gives attention and information to whoever's in front of his face in real life. He's going on this whole thing of he basically can only interact with people who are right in front of his face. And he's like, I'm not into texting. And then I'm like, what about the long distance relationship you had for years?
Okay. And then his mom, Jean, God love her, she interrupts and says, you're a great texter. This is bullshit. And laughs. Also, him saying that, I thought, is he saying that is why none of the people there know? Like, he didn't bother to text them or call them or tell them? Or is he saying that, well, him and Alliya were long distance, so it wasn't really sure until she's in front of his face now that they were actually going to get married or something, you know?
Oh, I took it as like he wasn't telling his friends stuff because he went on about it. He was like, I'm not going to text you. I'm engaged. And I'm like, why not?
Yeah, it's weird. Like, you could also call them.
I know. And he kept going on about how, like, you know, it was almost criticizing them. Like, you guys know that I can only give attention to whoever's in front of me. I'm like, first of all, that explains you needing an open relationship. And
yes. Yeah, that's why I connected to his relationship, because I'm like, oh.
Also, I'm just like, why are you talking about, oh, my real friends? No, I'm like, your real friends are the people who showed up to your engagement party, even though you're a dick to them. Like, I'm so confused. And like,
and why are you like shading them, saying that you don't really like them that much? Like, they're not your real friends.
Nothing he said here made sense. And honestly, everyone was like, yeah, what the fuck?
What? And yeah, it didn't even answer the question. It was really weird and rambly. And someone asks when the wedding is, and Shawn says in a month. And then he mimes ominous piano music and he goes, dun, 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 dun. Like, shut up. What is wrong with you?
I know. I hate this whole ball and chain bullshit of like, being forced to get married. Why did you propose to her then?
Yeah, literally, that kills me. Oh my God. And poor Alliya is just sitting next to him, like, trying to smile, like, God bless her. She's such a sweetie. But my God, this guy is such a dick.
Because she's got 60 days down. Maybe immigration will come take her away. I don't know. He's like about to call ICE on her.
Yeah. Okay, I know this was filmed like a year ago, but I'm like, things weren't great like a year ago either. Shut up.
It's still never good to like threaten immigration will come take your spouse away.
Not good. Not good. And I don't think we have to get into why. I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
Speaks for itself.
We cut to an interview with the friend Alfred, and he says that Shawn bringing his fiancé out of the blue is surprising for everyone. And he basically says he doesn't understand an older person being with someone so young and thinks Shawn's children are upset about it, but Shawn will stick to what he wants, and that's Shawn. And he kind of shrugs and rolls his eyes.
His friends hate him.
And then also confirming that the kids are upset about the age thing, which is so obvious. Shawn, you can't fucking trick us. You can't trick us. You can't make us think that they're transphobic. It's the age thing. It's the power imbalance. Obviously, that's what people would be weirded out by.
I mean, the whole thing that he's like, I never told them anything about it. And then now she came out. And so it's like, well, why didn't you tell them about her for the first years of your relationship? It's got to be the age thing.
It's totally the age thing. Then right after that, it's like kind of later in the day. People are not at the table anymore. They're just mingling. And the same friend, Alfred, is talking to Shawn alone. And he says that he's concerned about the age gap. I really appreciate Alfred being very upfront with him. And he says, quote, she's so young, she hasn't had a career, anything behind her, but you have everything behind you. And Shawn asks what his point is. Like, don't play dumb.
I know.
Like, well, maybe he's not playing, he is an idiot. And Alfred says, quote, she's young, she's had a very short open gay life, and she's still exploring that. And now she's a woman and is exploring that. There's just so many new things, and to be married in that situation, is that really the best thing for her? And is that really the best thing for you too?
The bullshit that comes out of Shawn's mouth.
I will say first, before we get into Shawn fucking everything up again, it was so validating to have people on screen saying the stuff that you and I have been suspecting and saying. Because Shawn this whole time has just been trying to make it sound like it's one thing and blaming everything on Alliya, blaming everything on the fact that she's transitioned and that she's a woman. I mean, mainly the fact that she's transitioned. I mean, they go hand in hand, but you know what I mean. And it felt so good to have people who seem to actually be advocating for Alliya. And like, well, is this what's best for her? Finally, someone gives a shit about her, because Shawn does not.
I agree. And then Shawn is so annoying with this because he says that being with him is the best thing for Alliya. It's like, dude, you're not even qualified to say that, but like, what a weird thing to say in response. Like, no, it is the best thing for her because he can, quote, roll with the changes. But then he's also like, but there may be a time where I can't or won't want to.
So can you or can you not?
I know. And so Alfred says, well, marriage is till death do you part. So you can't be having this attitude. And Shawn makes some fucking joke about like, well, it'll be 10 years. That'll be my longest relationship.
Like, because he's so old. Yeah. I'm like, girl, you're 60. That's not that old. It's very weird. Yeah, and just like, then Shawn says he's looking for something that will last. At the end of the day, the one thing I can count on is change, and that will be a part of our life. There are concerns, but we'll have to see how it goes. And Alfred goes, and Shawn goes, back at it. Shawn is such a piece of shit. He's such a dick. He's like mean to everyone. He's so brittle and insecure and defensive. And instead of pointing it inward, he just lashes out at people. And no wonder he's not close with people. He seems to be a very difficult person to be around. He seems very unpleasant because he clearly has a lot of insecurity in himself and doesn't like himself very much. I mean, it's very plain to me.
Completely.
Yeah, I mean, Shawn stays being insufferable and creating his own misery and unfortunately dragging Alliya down with him. So, I mean, we know from the beginning of the season that Alliya doesn't follow through with the wedding. I mean, we've seen this preview. Unless it's like some weird fake out, we can assume that's what happens. And I'm just like, thank God. And I can't wait to see it. I cannot wait to see it because I need Shawn to get humbled. I need him to have it proven to him that actually Alliya doesn't need him. I hate that he said in this moment with Alfred that like basically, oh, she needs me because I'm the only one who's willing to stay with her despite like things changing. And I'm like, Wow. I bet he says stuff like that to Alliya, like, oh, well, you know, our situation isn't perfect, but like who would be with you?
Totally, for sure.
Even if he doesn't explicitly say it, that's his vibe, and that is sick and twisted. It's disgusting, and it's not true.
I agree. Okay, now we're back in Mexico with the throuple.
Always a joy, honestly. Going from Shawn and Alliya to the throuple. I mean, for the throuple, this was a heavier episode, but they're just so laughable and funny to me.
They're goofy. I know. We don't see Ani this episode, just Matt and Minnie. And Matt and Minnie are at the hotel. Matt says in an interview that he's hurt by both Minnie and Ani, and basically that they both hid Ani's feelings from him, which, you know, we knew from the last episode.
Yeah.
So he goes on the balcony of the hotel room that he's sharing with just Minnie, and he FaceTimes his friend Eric, who we met on the boat in the first episode. And then they start saying Minnie as Amani.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I didn't hear if Matt pronounced it that way, but immediately I clocked that Eric is like, how's Amani?
No, Matt also said it Amani. They both were saying it Amani. So I'm like...
The mystery continues.
We'll just say whatever comes out of our mouths, because that's what Matt's doing. So he's just telling Eric about the situation. He says Eric is a good friend to talk to because he's also been in a polyamorous relationship, so he can kind of understand Matt's perspective. And he says, quote, Ani let Amini know that she loves her and doesn't really care for me. And I thought that was a funny way of saying it, because it's a little bit more dramatic than what happened.
Right, like Ani didn't say that she didn't love Matt. She just said she loved Amani more.
Yes. And then Eric wants to know, like, what conversations Matt has had with Amini about it. And Matt says he hasn't spoken to Amini because he doesn't know if he can trust her.
Great way to feel about your wife, by the way,
Awesome.
of like 10 years.
And Eric is like, okay, if I were you, I would be pausing and reassessing the relationship. And he basically is like, at this point, you really need to kind of triage and focus on your relationship with Amini. And he says he's seeing jealousy, and jealousy can lead to delusions. And he tells Matt he is now a third wheel.
Dude, Eric was just spitting fact after fact.
I know, and I was happy about that.
I was really happy that Matt had someone like this to talk to, someone with their head on straight.
And then Matt says that Amini is still caught up in the excitement of the relationship, but the situation is getting away from him, and he feels like the women have it figured out, but he doesn't.
I'll tell you, Matt, the women do not have it figured out.
I know. At this point, Eric just reminds Matt to be careful because he could lose everything. Because as a reminder, Matt and Amini are planning on getting divorced to get married to Ani. And I think that the thing I didn't even consider is, like, in the divorce, there would also be a custody situation.
Shit.
So he could, like, lose access to his kids.
Hey, guys, don't do it. Hey, don't do it. I did not think about that. Oh, because I was like, well, why does he keep saying he could lose his kids? But you're right. Obviously, there's a divorce.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Also, side note, they kept showing Matt shaking his leg out of nervousness.
Yeah, on the
I
call.
could not tell what was happening for like the first 5 shots. I thought he was jerking off.
Imagine he's just having this call with Eric and he's jorking it.
I was like, what's happening? And then I was like, I see. It was an optical illusion for me. In the next segment, Minnie wakes up and she's like kind of avoiding Matt. She sees him on the balcony and then just like goes to the beach alone.
She's so dramatic.
She tells the camera it's because she woke up, saw Matt on his phone, and assumed he was, quote, talking shit about me and Ani to his friend.
Like, quite the leap.
I love the assumptions, but it's also like talking shit, aka like saying what happened. And Minnie says she thinks Matt is not upset about what Ani said, but just that it took so long to tell him, which I think that's right. And then Matt finds Minnie on the beach. After his phone call with Eric is done, he says he's been thinking about their conversation last night and just, quote, can't accept how that went down. And Matt asks Minnie how she would feel if he told her that her significant other didn't love her. She says, as much. Doesn't love you as much.
She's so, like, defensive of Ani, which is quite interesting, I have to say.
I know. And it's just interesting, like, she cannot... Here's the thing. If she's willing to actually process the situation, she has to understand the throuple is dead.
Yeah.
So I think she just doesn't want to accept it. So she's trying to, like, make it work. But if one person in the throuple is not wanting to be in a relationship with one of the other people, then it can't work.
Exactly.
So Matt asks Minnie at this point, he's like, can you really not see that the relationship you have with Ani is further along than my relationship with her, which is so fair. And Amini's just like, she can't even give him an inch because she's just, I think she really doesn't want to like pull the thread any longer and like see what's really there.
She specifically says, we're just very similar together, I guess. I told you women bond easier. And I'm like, what? And Matt laughs and says, okay, my point exactly. Now that you're bonded with her, try to bring me in, don't push me out. And Amini like puts her head in her hands and is so dramatic about it.
I think it's so interesting that Matt even still is like in a problem solving mode. Like he's not given up on the relationship. He's just like, you know, can you help? He says like the relationship's not balanced. And he says Amini's not seeing the signs and she just wants her help in rebalancing the relationship, including him, etc.
Yeah.
And then she's like, just try to remember the good days.
That was the stupidest shit she could have said. I'm like, Amini, that's not how you solve conflict. What?
I know. And then she asks Matt, she says, how do you switch on me like that? And it's like, I don't think he's switching on you. I think he got new information and is like recalibrating based on the new information.
Yeah. If anything, Ani has switched up on him.
I know. And Matt literally says he's still in this and he's just like trying to develop that bond with Ani.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm just asking for your help. That's it. And she can't even handle that.
Amini like low-key does not want Matt involved either. She wants it to be just her and Ani.
That's what I'm saying. She wants to have her cake and eat it too. She wants to have her relationship with Matt and she wants to have her relationship with Ani. And Matt has to be okay with that.
It's so dumb. And like then Matt says he doesn't think Ani understands the things that he has done / is doing for her, like dismantling his family structure. Fair. And then Amini tells Matt, which kind of surprised me, but she says that there is no relationship without Matt. And Matt says he needs to know that Amini has his back and asks for her help in getting through to Ani.
But just again, Amini or Amini, whatever, with actions versus words. I'm like, okay, so is that true that there's no relationship without Matt in it? Because you're saying that now, but the way that you've been acting does not imply that at all. It feels like you're close to being like, well, are you just cool if I keep dating her?
I was gonna say, it feels like there's no relationship with Matt in it.
Yeah. I'm genuinely interested to see where this goes. And I have to say, this is kind of what I was referencing at up top of like, I have consistently been weirded out by Matt and disliked him. And in the relationship of this throuple, I don't think he's the villain, but he's always been the one that I like to shit on the most because he does give me weird vibes. And I stick by that. He still does. But in this episode, I was like, he's completely right and he's coming across as very rational. If he acted like this from the beginning, I would have liked him. But I'm like, how crazy is Amini and then maybe also Ani that Matt, I'm like, yeah, he's the one with his head on straight.
I know. It's so bizarre. And like, I mean, I was just so surprised in this episode that he wasn't even like, I'm ending the relationship. But he was like, well, let's just find a way to include me.
I think that he's low-key afraid of Amini.
He's also mentioned he's really afraid of losing Amini. And I feel like maybe he kind of recognizes how much Ani means to Amini. And he's like, if I blow this up, then I do feel for the guy. But I also am like, why did you guys even start this dumbass relationship?
It's so funny to me that these people were like so surprised at every turn at the conflict that's been happening that is so predictable. I mean, what's there to say? I can't wait for the next episode with them in it because I find them so fascinating. And I can't wait to see what Ani's vibe is. Like, does she just seem checked out of the relationship too? Is it going to be kind of amicable of like, yeah, this is it? Or is it going to be something dramatic? I think if it were just Matt and Ani breaking up, it would be very chill. But the fact that Amini is part of it, I think she's going to have a meltdown about the fact that she can't just keep them both.
I agree. I also just like at this point, I do not see how this works out. I think Matt's at a point where he's realizing rightly that he would be an idiot to get a divorce for this situation. And if he doesn't get the divorce, then, I mean, Amini could still divorce him, but yeah. I don't think, but then they would just be broken up. I mean, I don't think she would do that also. I don't think she would. I'm just saying they could break up still, you know what I mean? But I just don't see a path forward for the throuple, so I just like don't know where we go from here.
Oh my God, I'd love if Matt and Amini get divorced just because they realize they don't actually want to be together or whatever, or one of them doesn't. And then like at the reunion, Amini and Ani are together. That's my dream.
Honestly, it could happen.
I would be gagged. That would be insane. I would love it. We have Shekinah and Sarper.
Please get into it. This was weird as fuck, by the way.
This was weird as fuck.
Sarper, we're regretting buying tickets to your show.
I'm not going to say that. We are feeling new feelings about this couple. Oof. We pick up still in the moment with the meeting of the sisters, Shekinah sisters. So again, we're with Shariah, Zayana, and Mariah, and then Jay, one other boyfriend. We had to remember, like, we left off with, like, the fucking stupid comment Sarper made about, do you all have geisha vibes? It's just like, what the fuck? Anyway, so Sarper says Sarper says to the table, he's normally an overreactive guy, but he is calm right now. Thumbs up. And Sarper says that when him and Shekinah have a problem, they solve, quote, in a modern way by talking. They invented talking in the last 50 years, so yeah. Shariah asks, quote, like, not in a physical way, like grabbing things out of each other's hands. Oh boy, did my hackles get raised when I heard that. I said, reference.
Reference.
What do you mean? No, I was like, what do you mean in a physical way? Sarper, what? I'm like, is this fully physically abusive? What the fuck? But then, okay, so, guys, I feel like we're going in blind because we have to reiterate, we've never seen any other thing that these people have been on. So if producers are cutting in a moment that is not actually like fully representative of how bad it got or whatever, like, I'd just like it to know we're literally going based off of what we're seeing. So please. Anyway, we cut to a flashback where Shekinah is saying to Sarper, we talked about you having female clients. You shouldn't do it. You're dating an American girl now. And she kind of says it in that tone. And then she puts a lollipop in her mouth and sucks on it. And Sarper goes, ugh, and grabs the lollipop out of her mouth and throws it on the ground. And Shekinah just looks at him with like no reaction. And I can't tell, is this Botox or bad acting?
Dude, I was so confused by this whole thing. Also, what do you mean clients? What's his job?
I bet he's a physical trainer or something. But I'm curious your thought. But when I saw this, first of all, I laughed out loud. And I really feel like this confirms my theory that they are acting the whole time when there's conflict. Asterisk, because then later something happens where I'm not 100% sure. But in these on-screen moments, I'm like, this felt like bad acting from both of them.
It feels like they're trying to do the most that's still nothing.
Yes.
Like, taking a lollipop out of someone's mouth, is that a weird thing to do? For sure. But, like, I've never heard of that form of conflict before. I was like, okay.
Also, just the way that both of them, like, Shekinah, it almost felt like bad porn acting. Shekinah's like, we talked about you having female clients. You can't do it. You're dating an American girl. And then she, like, puts the lollipop in her mouth and sucks on it. And then Sarper's like, grabs it and throws it on the ground. And then she has, like a reaction of, like, like, it just didn't feel real. It felt so fake. And it was hilarious. I loved it. But I was like, okay, I don't think this is an example of, like, physical abuse or something. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't know. Like, I feel conflicted, but I just was not buying that this was a real thing.
It was just confusing. I mean, also the sisters being like, you can't, take things out of people's hands. And I'm like, I guess they just know the producers are going to cut it in, but I'm like, if we're going to reference stuff, can we, like, be specific about what we're referencing? Like...
True. But again, I was like, are the sisters acting?
I will say, it is, like, low-key scary, except for the fact that, like, they seem like they were acting. Like, I would find it terrifying if someone ripped a lollipop out of my mouth, but also it's like, it felt just fake and bizarre.
Yes, that's what I'm laughing at, and that's why I feel that this is not something I need to condemn, because I'm like, well, like, it just felt fake. It felt like acting. What's there to say? And then Sarper, in the moment with the sister, says, yeah, that was a complete mistake. And Zayana, one of the sisters, says that if they're going to get married, they're going to go through so many different phases of life. You have to learn how to grow and respect and love the other person. And in an interview, Sarper says that he feels like he's in the Matrix, dodging bullets from the sisters. And I want to laugh, but Sarper, I'm feeling so tense this whole episode. I appreciate you trying to ham it up, but I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel. And Sarper in the moment says he has a lot to prove to them all because they didn't have a good start. And Shekinah tells Shariah, her sister, that when Shariah met Sarper, it was only 10 days after Shekinah and Sarper met in person for the first time.
That blew my mind.
I know, I was like, 10 days? Why?
And your sister's already coming to meet?
I know. They're so produced. I kind of love that about them. But everything's on screen for them. Like, their whole relationship, it sounds like. And Shariah says she didn't know that. She thought it had been 6 months since they met in person for the first time. I'm just, like, again, confused about the logistics and the closeness of these sisters. You didn't know that until now, seemingly? Yeah, it's weird.
I know.
And then Mariah, another sister, tells Shekinah that she is one of the strongest people that she knows, and if she thinks that Sarper is lucky enough to keep her attention, then he deserves it. And basically she's like, doesn't say it too explicitly, but she's basically like, but if things go bad, you're very strong and you'll survive it, basically. So Shekinah says she wants her sisters to be happy for her. They say that they are. Zayana thanks Sarper for having the conversation with them. Sarper apologizes again for this Turkey visit, says he truly regrets it. And it felt authentic, and everyone kind of is like smiling more now. Seems like the vibe is good. Shariah says it's okay. They have a new start now. Then interestingly, we cut to an interview with Shariah where she says that she thought that Sarper seemed rehearsed and a bit disingenuous. And I have to say, well, yeah, I think he's acting for the show.
Also, speaking of disingenuous, not you being like, oh yeah, it's fine, and then a second later being like, actually, it's not fine.
Well, right. That threw me. That was strange to me. Anyway, that's all we get from her because they all hug goodbye and it seems like we're ending on good terms. Like I was like, oh, okay. I don't know why they let go of the geisha comment so quickly, seemingly, but like that would have really rubbed me the wrong way. But fine.
Maybe they were just like giving benefit of the doubt that it was a language issue or something.
Sure. Or maybe they all know that they're acting for the camera. I don't know. Conspiracy town, but I kind of think so. But then it does seem like there's genuine feelings too, so it's a little bit confusing. I think there's acting, but I don't think it's 100%.
I think with these shows, the further out we go in the People's Network, the less people tend to be acting. It doesn't mean they're not like opportunistic or like don't want to be on screen, but I feel like they're not as committed to the art form.
I think that's fair. So in the next section, it says 69 days to wed. It's kind of funny, but because I'm a 13-year-old boy, but also it hasn't been that long. 69 days to wed, so it's been less than a month since they arrived. They've done so much.
It's crazy how different the pacing is of all the different couples on the show.
Agreed. Like a few of them, it's like 1 month left. Or Stevi and Mahdi, it's 2 weeks. And then with them, it's, But I guess we have to remember that days to wed, of course, in general, I think it means like you can calculate how long it's been since they arrived, but in the case of Stevi and Mahdi, that's no longer true.
It's their wedding, yeah.
So it's another day. Sarper asks Shekinah how she feels leaving her hometown, in Montana. Shekinah says they accomplished what they came to do, so she feels good about it. And Sarper says he loves Montana. He feels like it's compatible with him. I think he'd be a cowboy, which I would love to see. And Shekinah makes and brings Sarper a coffee, and he says, my geisha.
I was like, Sarper, please. Sarper, we just talked about this.
Let it go. But it doesn't seem to bother her. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And she kind of says to him that when it comes to her sisters, they don't really care about words, but actions. It'll just
like
take
us.
time. And I'm like, yeah, just like us. Finally, some people with some sense. And Sarper says he understands, but they only have 60 days, but it can't be helped, given that he just kind of is acknowledging like, yeah, we won't have a perfect relationship before the wedding, but that just is how it is, and I'll keep trying after. Shekinah and Sarper put on their cowboy hats, and Sarper says, we will use that at home. And Shekinah says, we love a good costume. I love how self-aware they are. And I'm like, let's stick to this. Let's stick to the like fun little like dressing up in costumes, and let's keep it lighthearted. And boy, does it not stay lighthearted, because they fly back to LA. And trigger warning, strife within a relationship. You know what? That's a trigger warning for this whole podcast, so I don't feel like I need to do that.
Trigger warning conflict. Trigger warning bad relationship.
On screen it says 1 week later. And then a lot of text shows on screen.
It's very Star Wars intro.
Very Star Wars intro. I wish it did like the scroll. That'd be funny. But this is not funny. It says, a week after returning from Montana, Shekinah told producers she and Sarper got into a fight. Shekinah shared audio recordings of the argument. First of all, okay, I had two thoughts. Number one thought was, oh God, is this like a domestic violence situation where a woman is recording for her own safety to collect evidence? And that could absolutely be, and if so, that's very serious. But could it also be that Shekinah and Sarper love attention and she thought, oh, you know what, this is good content for the show?
She thought, let me get my phone real quick.
It could be either, and they're very different situations. So again, it's aiding in my trepidation about saying stuff about the situation. But unfortunately, we have to. But just know, like, I feel conflicted. I don't really understand what's going on. It makes me nervous. Because anything that could be domestic violence, I'm like, ooh, I do feel we should be clarifying if it is.
I agree. Also, again, this was this horrible exposition. Like the card, the fact that it's a week after Montana doesn't really matter. What's more important is like, what's the context of this fight?
Yeah, what started it? We didn't, like, we kind of hear, but it doesn't really add up. And there's a lot of missing context even still.
Should we act out the fight?
Yeah, I love that.
What is your problem?
My problem is your face. I know that face.
Do you understand how crazy you sound right now?
You are useless.
I just came home from working all day and I cooked you a meal and you say fuck you. You say fuck you to me and now you're leaving.
Fuck this life. Okay, I really hate this life and I'm going back to my country.
And scene. Again, it's like this weird fight where it was like very passionate, but it's like, what's the fight about? We don't know. Why are we supposed to care? It's just not good exposition. I mean, I don't know why they're talking in this way. What happened between Montana and now?
We're just going to go based off of what we have. And it sounds like Shekinah is upset because, okay, I came home from working all day and I cooked you a meal and you say fuck you. But I'm like, but why did he say fuck you? Like, what? I'm not saying it's even like her fault, but I'm just saying, what? Okay, what happened? Like, surely that's not exactly how it went. We now are with Sarper in the moment at like a park in the neighborhood. And he says, we again fucked everything up because we have an argument. She sent me what I said. So he's basically then showing a text exchange he had with Shekinah that is text from Shekinah of her recounting what Sarper said to her, if that makes sense. So it's from Shekinah's perspective about Sarper. So what Shekinah sent was, I won't let you drive my car. I am hard to live with. It's hard to live with my dogs. You're afraid at any second I'll freak out at waitstaff or clerks. Telling me to make you coffee without saying please or thank you. Saying I'm causing the bad energy when it's you since yesterday who... And then it cuts off. And I'm like, okay, number one, release the texts. I need to read the whole thing. So I don't want to come across as if I'm trying to poke holes in her story. I am genuinely just trying to understand.
The waitstaff one is super interesting to me.
It is really interesting. And it kind of brings me back to in a previous episode when they were being driven from the airport. I actually cut this out, but I had made a comment that I thought it was interesting that on camera, Shekinah ignored the driver who like gave them their suitcases and Sarper explicitly said, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. Have a good day, my friend, or something like that. And I said, I think it's interesting that they left that in because Shekinah comes across as a little bit rude to like a worker, you know? Mm-hmm. And I did cut it because I thought, well, okay, we don't have any other evidence to that, but it is bringing me back to that. I'm like, oh, is she actually rude to people in service positions and that bothers Sarper? Because that seems like a random thing to bring up.
I don't want to like assume too much because we don't know anything, but that seems like a complaint where I'm like, now why would you come up with that for no reason?
Yeah. And also, I would be on Sarper's side of that. That is rude.
But it does seem like just grievances. Like, I don't know. It's interesting. It doesn't seem like... It seems like maybe Sarper just, like, came in and was like, I hate this. Like, I'm over it. And had a bunch of complaints at once. And that overwhelmed her or something. But odd.
Very odd. I will say the I'm hard to live with part is very interesting because later... We'll get into it. But I think I have an idea of specifically what that might mean. At least part of it. And I don't think it's how she phrased it. Sarper says that, I guess, in the moment, in the fight, again, it's very unclear, but he said that he feels useless, and he said, quote, it's enough, that's it. No idea what that means. And then he went downstairs to not talk and let time solve something, which, okay, I guess maybe to cool off, that could be okay. And he says that they are not talking still, and they're like two strangers in the same house.
And he's sleeping downstairs in the med spa.
Yes. So now we cut to Shekinah talking to the camera in her house. She says that things are so tense. Sarper is sleeping on the couch and says that after Montana things were fine, but the other day everything changed. Sarper was in a bad mood and was treating her like shit. No details on what that means. And she says that right now, and we see her doing it, she's packing up her esthetician setup so that she can keep her house as just her house. So she's like moving her setup, I guess, to like a studio or spa or something. And she's doing so much for him, she feels like he doesn't even appreciate it. So that just makes me think that the whole thing of you say that I'm difficult to live with, I'm guessing it means like I can't cook, I can't be here all day, I have to be outside. I'm like, Shekinah, that actually does make sense to me. I don't think he was saying that you're hard to live. I think it's the situation of how you're living makes it difficult for my life.
I agree. She also listed two specific sacrifices that I was like confused that those were the sacrifices. Number one was that she moved her clothing out of her closet so he could put his clothing in the closet, which I'm like, girl, be real. That's barely a sacrifice. But okay.
That's actually totally expected. What, did you want him to keep it in his suitcase?
And then number two, that she's packing up her, med spa so they can just live there. And I'm like, I hate to say it, but you should have done this before. This apartment is not big enough for two people and also a med spa. and one of the people can't be there when the med spa is in use.
Yes. Like the way that we heard Sarper talking to Shekinah did make me nervous, and I don't like anyone yelling at anyone, but I really don't like a man yelling at a woman. And Sarper is very strong. Like if he wanted to physically hurt her, he totally could. So obviously like that's making me be on edge. But the details we are given are kind of painting Sarper as being kind of fair in the complaints that Shekinah has brought up. Like she's saying it as if like, oh, he said this and it was so hurtful and blah, blah. And I'm like, well, it might have been hurtful, but I don't think it was unfair or untrue.
It's also just like so hard to say anything because we just don't have enough information.
And that's the truth at the end of the day. Like if Sarper's a fucking asshole, I would actually believe that and I would like to know it. But again, we can't know it with what we're being given. So now at the park, Sarper calls his female cousin from earlier in the season, who we finally get a name for on screen.
Thank God.
It says Fusun, F-U with an umlaut, S-U-N. And I think that he said Fusun, so I'm going to say it that way. And he tells Fusun what happened and about meeting Shekinah's sisters and then the fight at home. And Fusun tells him that that was the one thing she asked Shekinah is to not have a blow-up fight and when Sarper has nowhere else to go. So she seems exasperated, and fair enough. I mean, it literally is the one thing she asked Shekinah to not do. And Sarper says yesterday he went to even buy a plane ticket home. He had the seat picked and he stopped right before paying. I'm like, whoa. Yeah, I mean, I believe that these two have a toxic relationship. I've believed that from the beginning, but it's like getting the details is so yikes. So Sarper says to Fusun that if he comes back home, quote, no one will be able to hold me back anymore. 3,500 women after that.
Sarper, we're tired.
Imagine how tired we are. Now is not the time for jokes.
It's not even really a joke.
It was gross. So Sarper says that the next conversation he has with Shekinah has to be that they decide to change or he will go back to Turkey, says it's up to her. And I'm like, okay, I get the feeling that you guys have had that exact same conversation many, many, many times.
Agree. I think there have been a lot of last chances.
Yeah, a lot of ultimatums that no one sticks behind. So I'm like, well,
we'll see.
I don't think that they're going to fix their issues, and I also don't think he's going back to Turkey. I think that they will get married, and I think that they have just a toxic relationship.
Agreed.
Which I hate to see, but I think that's what's going to happen. Good luck to them. I want the strife to end. And I want for these two to go back to being silly, goofy, fun. I'm not liking the seriousness that's infecting them.
Me either. Now we do have Greg and Joan. This was a very interesting episode, specifically around the complex character of Lucille.
She was one of the ones I was referencing at the top. You think she's a villain, and then something happens.
The episode starts with Lucille coming upstairs to Greg and Joan's room, and she sees that Joan's in a bathrobe, and she's like, oh, you took a shower? Again, with the shower.
She can't let it go.
She says in an interview she's like still having a difficult time with the 2 showers a day. And she's like, whenever I see her showering, I'm like, the royal shower coming in now. It's like, what?
Like, Lucille, she can't let these little things go, but I don't think it makes her a bad person, but it does make her a little bit annoying and probably quite annoying to live with, which is fair enough.
And then she also notices that the room is clean, which she attributes to Joan's influence. And Greg, then like to his mom, is like basically saying like it's not fair for her to criticize his messiness because her garage is messy. I'm like, Greg, know your place. You're living here for free.
You're living here for free. Your mom is really nice to you. And she's literally giving a compliment. Hey, 2 things. Greg, you could get your ass up and clean the garage. You could help out your mom for once. And 2, it's just like, wow. Again, it really just made me again feel like, wow, women can't win. You can keep the entire house clean, but except for the garage, and then someone's going to throw that in your face.
Also, just the way he's like so defensive about any perceived slight.
Yes.
He is objectively a messy guy, and he has to come back with like, your garage is messy. It's like, okay. So, but the reason Lucille's in the bedroom in the first place is to propose a new idea for their wedding. Mm-hmm. Because Greg and Joan have been pretty committed to this idea of a backyard wedding where they cook their own food. Terrible idea. Lucille is proposing getting married at a venue because she recognizes that pretty much all the work is going to land on her. She's like, I'm going to have to clean the house. I'm going to have to, cook or whatever, even though Greg is insisting he's going to cook. You're not going to be cooking at your own wedding. And then like Lucille, I mean, I think she honestly just doesn't want at her house, which is totally fair. But she keeps coming up with like reasons, and she's like, also if it rains, like we'll need to get tents and stuff, which is so true. Like that also costs money to get tents and tables and shit. is he just thinking they're going to be standing in the backyard?
And they say that they're planning to have 75 people there. For this backyard wedding, that's a lot of people. That's a lot.
In general, like, if you are a person who is, like, at all socially adept, you can just tell Lucille is not comfortable with having the wedding at her house. She's kind of giving excuses, but she just doesn't want it there. And Greg is like, well, I really want it at the house.
Why does that matter?
And so, and, like, again, Lucille says in an interview that, like, she's just really stressed about this because she knows Greg wouldn't be on top of it, even though he's saying he would be.
Everything she's saying is so fair. I think she's clearly the adult, and Greg is so, like, in La La Land. He doesn't understand how things actually work.
I know. And so Greg is just immediately stressed about the budget, and Lucille says that she found a venue, and she even asked them for the price, and that the place offers everything: DJ, drinks, wedding cake, photographer, everything. And Greg and Joan both say they would rather save the money, which I'm like, you guys are both being stupid. Like, Joan, you're also being stupid at this point. I recognize she's coming from a place of, like, scarcity because, like, she's realizing Greg has no money. Mm-hmm. But it's just, like, any money they spend on an at-home wedding will be wasted because the event will be fucking terrible.
Also, Greg does get into how much money he's planning to spend on the wedding. But I have to say, like, if they wanted to save money and do a backyard wedding, okay, you do that for, like, max 20 people.
I know.
Total. Like, you can't save the money, have a backyard wedding, and have
it be the exact wedding you want. I know.
Something has to give. So that's where they lose me.
Yes. He does reveal that his budget is $5,000 for 75 people.
Yeah,
which
already
is...
not. You can't even... What?
That's just nothing. I mean, it's just not realistic.
And we're not saying that to say, oh my God, you could never do a wedding for $5,000. Of course you can. It's just going to be a very minimal wedding with not 75 people.
Not 75 people, exactly.
And probably not food, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, it would probably be like a tea or something. I don't know. Like,
yes, like a morning wedding and they just have, like, coffee and pastries or something. Like, he's just not being realistic. I think he's not thinking about the fact, like, he doesn't seem to be willing to do any compromises. The only compromises he's willing to do are things that will just be more labor for his mom.
Exactly, which is so pissing me off.
So unfair. And then Joan at this point also reminds them about the dowry. And Lucille, I have to say, I thought she was very culturally sensitive in the last episode, but now she's not. She says in an interview with the camera, she goes, "The dowry. Don't start me with that. Why she needs so many cows, I don't even know."
Oh my God.
And then she's, like, mocking Joan. She's like, "That's my culture. That's my culture. Lay off Gregory. Give him a break."
Okay, so I thought you agreed that your son is kind of a loser who gave up a job that he shouldn't have and, like, shouldn't live at home with his mommy and blah, blah, blah. But then she's like, lay off Greg. Like, I felt like she was about to say, he's just a baby. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, you laying off Greg is why he's, 35 and living at home with you unemployed.
I know.
Like, that really did annoy me.
And remind me, how much was the dowry? Like, $3,000, I think.
3,000 or 5,000, which also it's funny because he's like, oh, I budgeted 5,000 for a wedding. And I'm like, okay, that's the dowry then. Sounds like you have the money for the dowry. But I was like, what does budgeted mean? Because I think in the past when Lucille, oh God, Freudian slip. When Joan brought up the dowry, it was 3,500 or 5,000 or something like that. He's like, how could people even have that much money? And I'm like, so what do you mean you budgeted $5,000 then?
I feel like he emotionally budgeted it.
Yeah, he's like, well, I'm thinking that is a good amount for me to go into credit card debt, I think is what he's saying.
I know. And then at this point, Lucille asks if they can factor in how much Greg has been supporting Joan into the dowry. And she's like, no.
Yeah. I felt like that was a fair question, but unfortunately, I guess not.
Well, but on the other hand, like, I don't know if in Uganda, like, you wouldn't live together before you get married. So I don't know if, like, the dowry is the first money that would flow. But I'm like, Lucille's going on kind of how about, he's paying for groceries and stuff. And I'm like, yes, that is the way this has to work. She can't make her own money. Like, is she supposed to starve?
Just the bare minimum.
I'm confused by acting like, oh my God, he's doing so much. He's paying for her groceries. Yeah, by the way, that's all he's paying for at this point.
Yeah, what is that? Maybe if they're really living big, that's $1,000 a month. I even doubt it's probably like $500 to $800.
And it's just crazy. Like, the Lucille in this moment is like, he's supporting you. And I'm like, girl, you're supporting her. He's not doing really anything.
It's funny because sometimes I feel like Lucille is so aware that she is the one that they're depending on, but then other times she says that Greg is actually supporting Joan. I'm like, no, you said that that's the whole problem is he's not. So what?
I know. And then they kind of go back and forth because, you know, Joan says that the whole point of the dowry is, in addition to just the fact that it's important to her culture, and she said that a million times, the point of the dowry is also to show that he can support her. And Lucille's like, well, he is showing that. And I'm like, girl, he's actually not at all.
Yeah, what does
because
she
he lives
I'm
with
like,
you
he's
still.
not.
But then this is interesting.
Like, oh, he went on a job interview. What more do you want?
He's been on that website every day.
He's on the website.
But in an interview with just Greg and Joan, Greg is totally on board with the dowry at this point. He's like defending it, and he's basically saying like, it's her culture. I wish my mom would stop nagging about it. So it's interesting because he's really shifted. At the beginning, he was like, I can't believe you're making me do this. And now he's... So that kind of... The arc is interesting to me.
It's very... I believe that there's been quite a long time between, like, the scene where he was like, the dowry, what the heck? And then these interviews that they're splicing in. I think that they get married and that interview is after they're married. And it's like, oh, yeah, why would I ever not want to pay the dowry? You know what I mean? Where it's like he's already done it, I guess. This is just my conspiracy, but I think that's the vibe.
It's just funny because it's so shockingly different where I'm like, you know, just seemingly 2 days ago or how, like, you were also.
Exactly. Yep. And just so we can remind ourselves of the timeline, I did see then it says 61 days to wed. So yeah, it has not been that long since that initial conversation about the dowry.
I feel like it's been maximum 2 weeks.
Agreed.
So it's funny that he like can't remember being in the same state. So I think your thesis, like your idea makes sense. But in any case, I just thought that was funny that he's now so defensive of Joan, which is the energy we would have loved to see from him the whole time.
Agreed. I mean, I'm glad he's there at least eventually, but it feels a little hypocritical to not acknowledge that he felt the same way, you know.
I know. At this point, the three of them all go to the venue that Lucille found. And again, Lucille's talking about how they aren't prepared to have a wedding at home. They wouldn't be prepared for bad weather. And Joan again says she wants to save money by having the wedding at home.
So there's some tension.
There's tension. And I also feel like it's funny because I feel like Joan in this episode, but also in previous episodes, has been conscious of not wanting to be an inconvenience or a burden to Lucille. But I'm like, she's telling you so clearly that having the wedding at home is a huge burden to her.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that Joan's not picking up on that.
I agree.
That just struck me as kind of interesting. So they pull up to the Guglielmo Marconi Lodge, a.k.a. Marconi Manor.
Obsessed. I'm adding that to the Google Maps, whatever we're making of places, like pinned places to go on our 90-day road trip.
And they meet with Mike, the venue administrator. And they learn that the wedding, first of all, the venue looks actually great.
Yeah, looks
like,
fine.
I mean, it's a wedding venue, but like compared to like the venue Stevie's looking at, like it's like a very classic.
Total East Coast, kind of Italian wedding hall vibes.
There's like, you know,
but
long tables. It looks great. And I actually went on the website of the venue and like looked up all the things they include. And even in like, even the lowest tier, because they have like different tiers, very thorough, all inclusive.
That's awesome.
Like they do everything.
Wait, really? Like they even had photographer and stuff?
Even photographers.
Oh my
and like
gosh.
depending on the tier, you get a different number of photos and stuff like that. But like
that's awesome.
And they asked for the price, and it's gonna be around $8,900, which is a fucking amazing price.
That is, guys, like unbelievably cheap for a full service wedding. That's insane.
Including
it's
open
literally
bar.
Insane. Including open bar?
Yeah, because remember Lucille's like, is the bar going to be open all night? Because like, you know, we don't want people getting cut off or whatever. And I was like, okay, Lucille.
Wait, period. I need to see Lucille fucking let loose on that dance floor. Okay, I had a New York wedding. We should have gone to Long Island.
You should have gone to the Guglielmo Marconi Lodge.
If I was doing it now, I would. And then Greg says, it's just a lot of money. I really need this fucking job. And I'm like, first of all, it's not a lot of money. What they're getting. Like, objectively, could I just lend you that money right now? No. But for a wedding, that is a steal. It just shows he doesn't know anything. Like, dude, you were planning to do the whole wedding at home for $5,000.
He doesn't know anything about this. And it's really abundantly clear because, like, even Lucille's like, this is a really good deal.
Yeah, she's like, people pay way over this for a wedding.
He's just, like, so committed to this random price of $5,000 that he just, like, invented in his own brain. And, like, poor Joan, I think, doesn't know better because, like, she isn't familiar with American weddings. So she's like, also, she's aware of the fact that Greg has no money. So she's like, okay, I guess that's our budget. So Lucille then says, because they're like really going back and forth about the price. And she says she thinks that they should pay a little for a wedding. But she suggests that Greg and Joan contribute $1,000. And then she and Greg's dad, who we've never heard of before, will pay the rest. Honestly, so classy.
It really was, it touched me.
Me too. And also like, I can appreciate on some level, like, she recognizes the burdens on her either way. Either she has a wedding at home, she has to do a million things for it, or she figures out a way around it. But I thought she handled it in an incredibly classy, generous way.
It was really sweet.
And then Joan is kind of hesitant to accept because she says they're becoming a burden. And Lucille says they're never a burden. And she also says she sees Joan's appreciation for her every day and appreciates how much Joan helps out around the house.
And Lucille starts to tear up.
It was actually a sweet moment, like genuinely
I just
a really
got chills.
moment.
I know, I really did. I like when people are nice to each other.
Fancy that. No, I was really touched by this whole thing.
And Lucille and Joan hug. Like, it was just totally sweet. It ends with the interview with Lucille where she says, I want them to have a special day, and I want Joan to enjoy herself as well. And just, I don't know.
Really sweet.
It was really sweet.
No, really sweet.
Because in the last episode, you know, there's a little tension between Lucille and Joan, and I'm really glad to see, I'm not sure how that got resolved or if it just kind of got swept under the rug, but I'm glad to see that they seem like they're in a good place right now. It was very heartwarming.
I agree. I guess now that they have the money, probably the wedding will go ahead, even though I think they shouldn't get married. But
that's the one thing is I'm like, well, is this really for the best? But at the same time, it's so sweet. And, you know, I love love. So even if I kind of agree with you that I'm like, I don't think they should get married. I don't think the logistics are really there and blah, blah, blah. At the same time, I'm kind of excited to see the wedding at Marconi Manor.
I'm excited to see what is happening at the Guglielmo Marconi Lodge, aka Marconi Manor.
And I can't wait to see the extended family. I'm excited. I am wondering though, I'm like, Greg, where are you going to get the dowry though?
Well, that's from his wedding budget that doesn't exist yet.
Well, right. I'm like, did you actually have $5,000 set aside for the wedding? Or did you have $5,000 of theoretical credit card debt set aside?
I know. I don't think they accept
credit. Yeah, I don't think they take credit. So we'll see how that moves forward. I'm sure that will be like the final conflict. I think it'll work out, but God, Greg, you better have $3,000 or $5,000, how much it was saved up if you had that theoretically for your wedding budget.
You know what I was thinking? I think at some point, like maybe to celebrate, once we get a lot of viewers or listeners, which I'm sure we will.
Yeah, no time.
We should be hosting a like season wrap party, season launch party at the Marconi Manor.
We'll have a lot of Long Island listeners, I'm sure. And if not, people willing to fly in.
People will be willing to fly out.
I absolutely agree. And you know it's going to be a steal, the price for renting.
And we're inviting Jean.
Jean and Lucille. Every mom is invited. None of the actual people, just the moms.
Just adjacent characters. That would be perfect.
That wraps up episode 11 of My Best View. This is a good one.
I agree. But I'm hoping like as the season comes to an end, we're going to see more like weddings or canceled weddings or, you know, like more concrete drama.
Are the weddings, do they tend to be like a real to-do? Is it like Love is Blind where it's a full episode for them and like, I don't know, like a big plot point? Or is it just kind of like, oh yeah, and then they got married and we just see a little bit?
No, it's just slotted into the show regularly.
Ugh.
It's not like one wedding episode.
That would be awesome if they did that. Well, I'll see how it goes. Maybe it's fine however they do it. But I'm excited. I really genuinely think they're all getting married except for Shawn and Alliya.
What if Shawn and Alliya like reconcile and get married after all?
Stop. Oh my God. Oh, no. I've been kind of worried about that in the back of my head. I free her, if so. We're showing up to that beautiful home saying first, how much? Show us the deed. And then, girl, come with us. But yeah, this was a great ep. I love doing it as always. Everyone, if you have not, please follow us on whatever app you're listening to us right now. Give us a review. That would be awesome. Leave a comment. Please follow us on social media. We are at My Best View Pod on Instagram and at My Best View Podcast on TikTok, which I am considering changing to My Best View Pod also on there. So it might be that there was a logistical reason I couldn't do that originally, so I went with podcast. But just to say, if this is outdated, it's going to be My Best View Pod. Please tell your friends about us because we really are enjoying doing this and it just helps us do it even longer and with more effort. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We appreciate it so much.
See you next time.
Bye.